Om Shanti. Good morning. Welcome all of you to the English Avyak Murli Reading Club. And today we listen to a brand new Murli and how Baba is speaking that how you can become, in one way, a self-sovereign of the confluence age, Swarajya Adhikari. And if you can become that, then you can become the world future self-sovereign king, Maharaja Maharani. And I like these two words actually in Sunday's Murli, which was 2 days ago. Baba spoke about Swarajya Adhikari and Swarajya Dhari. Both these are two different words. So first we become Swarajya Dhari, which means we first have control over our sense organs. And then we become Swarajya Adhikari, which means then we have the right to the kingdom in future. So Swarajya Dhari and Swarajya Adhikari. And also as we speak today, 28th of July 2026, it's our dear Didi Manmohini's uh, Avyakt Din, we say. This was the day when she became Avyakt. So we'll see what inspirations we get during the day, also from the Sakar Murli later when everyone reads it, and also too from the Avyakt Murli. As all of you know, her slogan was, Ab ghar jana hai. So I'll share the screen. Yeah, here you go. So 12th of November 1992, the basis of future world sovereignty is the self-sovereignty of the confluence age. Today, Bap Dada, the creator of the world, is seeing all his children who have a right to self-sovereignty. So we can say Swarajya Adhikari, the right. You have a right to self-sovereignty at the present confluence age. And in the future, you become those who have a right to world sovereignty. Vishwa Rajya Adhikari, now Swarajya Adhikari. Because it is only through self-sovereignty that you claim the right to world sovereignty. The experience of self-sovereignty at this time is even more elevated than the future world sovereignty. Throughout the whole drama, those who have had a right to the kingdom have been ruling. So Baba has spoken about three different types of kingdom. Firstly, the most elevated kingdom is that of self-sovereignty. And on the basis of this, you souls who have a right to self-sovereignty become those who have a right to world sovereignty for many births, from the golden age to the silver age. So we know golden age is around 8 and silver age around 12. So first is self-sovereignty, and then for half the cycle, you claim the you claim the right to world sovereignty. Then from Copper Age onwards, there are kingdoms. But those are not world sovereignty. So we know why from the Copper Age there is no self-sovereignty, because you lose control of yourself, because the very basis of self-sovereignty is soul consciousness that itself is lost. And therefore, Baba speaks about you do become kings and queens, but you're not double crowned, which means you just have a single crown of that metal, whatever. So you'll have the silver crown, whilst in the golden age, you'll have the golden crown. Along with that, the crown of purity. So silver crown with purity in silver age, golden crown with purity, and in the copper age, then you get the crowns maybe of copper. We don't know what metal they would be, but there is no purity at least, so that is left out. So though they are not from Copper Age, you don't become world sovereigns, not Vishwarajya Adhikari. You just become the kings of states. So just Rajya Adhikari. Rajya means one state. So it's only in the golden age is there one kingdom over the entire world. So you heard of the three types of kingdom. So Swarajya Adhikari, Vishwarajya Adhikari, and Rajya Adhikari, just of the state. So here we need to understand today Baba is speaking about how the kingdoms would be established, and in future Bharat will become Mahabharat. I mean, when we speak of the word Mahabharat, people usually think it's the war of Mahabharat. So it's basically the land of Bharat, which is Mahabharat. And why Maha? Maha means Mahan. It's the great land of Bharat, which extended right all from the present time India. It went on to Eurasia, the entire Eurasia continent, Europe and Asia together. So even the parts Southeast Asia and all these we know from science, all these were one mass of land. It was called Pangaea. So we know, like, when this severe volcanic eruptions or natural calamities or whatever happens now at the time that the Iron Age ends, or for us the Confluence Age ends, what will happen? There'll be severe destruction. And at that point of time, when you have so much of upheavals happening physically, natural calamities, in all that process, the earth mass will come together, which initially had dismantled at the mid of cycle when the Copper Age began. So all that mass comes together and that will become one land of Bharat, one big mass, and that's called Mahabharat. So on that one big land, there will be the golden age sovereignty. And that is what we call one kingdom over the entire world. So now you having heard these three types of kingdoms, what does a kingdom mean? A kingdom means the attainment of all the rights, the governing system of the golden and silver ages, the governing system of the copper age, and the system of the of the self-sovereignty of the confluence age. You now know all the three very well. And the governing system here means, it's basically an English word, but Baba said Niti and Rajniti. So Rajniti is politics, Niti is the method, the governing system. And again, it reminds me of Sunday's Murli, that how Baba spoke about Bhagya and Prapti, our fortune, and along with that, our attainments. And how he spoke about that at length, looking at the different lines of fortune, right from the mastak, the forehead, down to the feet. So having heard these three kingdoms, the system of the confluence age is that each and every Brahmin soul becomes one who has sovereignty over the self. So Baba tells us that you don't need to understand the further world sovereignty of golden age and the silver, and of the copper is the statehood. You don't need to understand that. Try to understand the self-sovereignty. What does that mean? All of you are Raj Yogis. Yesterday we got the title as Raj Rishi as well. All of you Raj Yogis or are some of you Praja Yogis, which means yogis who become subjects. You're Raj Yogis, aren't you? So to be a Raj Yogi means a yogi who is going to become a king. Souls who have a right to self-sovereignty have a special system, special niti, that's the word. Just as a king orders his service companions or his subjects to carry out a task, and they do it according to that system. In the same way, when you souls who have a right to self-sovereignty give an order to any of your physical organs with your power of yoga, and then each organ functions under your control. And it's not just all the physical organs of the body, the 5 sense organs, but it's even the three subtle organs. That's the mind, intellect, and sanskars. Same thing were mentioned in Sunday's Murli. So I really feel in one way it's a continuation of that Murli. That Murli was 2nd of Feb 2011, 2211, which you all will be hearing soon sometime in your revision in a couple of years. So the mind, body, intellect, and the sanskars then function according to the directions of you souls who have a right to self-sovereignty. And here Baba always says, what does this mean? More important is the sanskars, because our sanskars are automated. They work in an automatic fashion. We just use it because it's there. So Baba says once you become a self-sovereign soul, you then know at which point of time to use which sanskar, which means under what circumstance, whatever situation comes, which power to use, which virtue to use. It's important. We always have discussed this, that when you use in relation with people's behaviors and people's sanskars, we need to tolerate them. And for situations, difficult situations or circumstances, we need to face them. But what happens is opposite. When we have a confrontation or a conflict with person, when I'm not able to gel well with someone's XYZ sanskars, I try to face that. And when there is any difficult situation, I tolerate it. So it should be the other way around, vice versa. So according to the directions of you souls, your mind, intellect, and sanskar should function because you have a right to self-sovereignty. You're able to stabilize your thought power, which is the mind, wherever you wish, whenever you wish. That is, you have the sovereignty even over your mind, intellect, and sanskars. You are not subservient to your sanskars, but you have control over your sanskars and you use them for a task with the elevated principles. You come into relationship and connection with the others on the basis of your elevated sanskars. So the system of self-sovereignty is for the self first, that is the soul, to have a right over the mind, intellect, and sanskars and all the physical organs. So here we can think about having sovereignty over the intellect is again, it's basically we say our mind is wandering in different directions. It's not the mind actually, it's basically buddhi. The intellect bhatakti hai. The intellect wanders here and there because intellect in one way is the big brother. And whatever the intellect does is followed by the younger one, the younger brother, that is the mind. So the intellect needs to be taken care of, needs to be controlled. And therefore, in all the Sakar Murlis, Baba keeps saying about buddhi. He doesn't say paras man. He says paras buddhi, the intellect which becomes pure. Then he says buddhi ka yog, the intellect, the yoga of the intellect, not the yoga of the mind. So this shows that it's basically the intellect which is important. See, if any physical organ deceives you, sometimes your eyes do deceive you, sometimes your words deceive you, and sometimes your speech, that is your lips, deceive you. If your sanskars are not under your control, you are not said to be a self-sovereign. That is then called being an effort maker for self-sovereignty. Swarajya adhikari banne ke purusharthi. Not the one who has a right, but one who's just an effort maker. In fact, a soul who has a right to sovereignty can never ever be deceived by the physical organs, the mind, the intellect, or sanskars, even in dreams. That's so important because that soul has a right. A soul who has a right, adhikar, can never be subservient. If a soul is subservient, he is still making effort to become one who has a right. If a soul is subservient, which means that soul is still making an effort to become the one who has a right. So ask yourself whether you are an effort maker or one who has a right. So what are you? Have you become one who has a right, or are you still becoming that? And what experience do you have of the spiritual intoxication of self-sovereignty? So, Swarajya Adhikari ka Ruhani Nasha. What is that experience or anubhav we have? What do you become? So, in turn, you become a carefree emperor, which means emperors of the land that is free from sorrow. And now Baba goes on to explain this great emperor feeling. So, the great emperors are those who are free from any worry. And the greatest kingdom is the kingdom of the land that is free from sorrow, which means the land of happiness, Sukhdam, golden age. In front of those who have a right to the kingdom of the land that is free from sorrow, the world sovereignty is nothing. Which means, Baba speaking here that the Vishwarajya Takht which you get is nothing in front of those who have actually the kingdom, the per se, you're able to rule over that kingdom where there is no sorrow at all. So the right to the kingdom of the land that is free from sorrow is a very elevated one, and the one that gives happiness. It's completely free from any sorrow. Baba's just the next in the 4-5 lines, he's explaining about how you'll be the resident of you'll be a resident of that land for half a cycle when there is absolutely not a trace of any sorrow. So now, do you have the same experience of being free from sorrow now? Or do you sometimes come down? So constantly maintain the right of the spiritual intoxication of being a carefree emperor of the land that is free from sorrow. Do not come down. Look, in today's kingdom, when someone is in the chair of position, he has a right, and if tomorrow he comes off the chair, does he still have a right? No, he becomes ordinary. So we are extraordinary, so we can't be following these logic patterns. So you should also stay in the intoxication of self-sovereignty and remain seated on your immortal throne, Akal Takht. All of you have this throne, don't you? So why do you leave your throne? Baba always says that we should be properly seated, well seated, or well set on the seat of the immortal throne, but we become upset. And it's a beautiful English word I like. When we become upset for any reason, and upset doesn't really mean getting angry. It could be many different forms of anger. Getting irritated, frustrated, a little bit when we even do, which also is showing that we have left our seat. Upset, we have left the seat. So Baba says, you become ordinary then if you leave that seat. So we also become ordinary if we get frustrated, angry, irritated. So all of you have this throne, don't you? So why do you leave your throne? So always remain seated on this throne and always maintain the spiritual intoxication of being seated on this throne. It is this immortal throne, not that immortal throne of Amritsar. So in Amritsar, the Sikhs is their religious place where they have the big Akal Takht. In one way, uh, they have a pedestal, and on that they keep the sacred Guru Granth Sahib. So Baba says there they call Akal Takht in Amritsar, but basically the Akal Takht is your seat inside the forehead where this soul resides. So this is actually the immortal throne. And all of you have this immortal throne. So I would like to say Baba speaks of these three threes. Today he spoke about the three kingdoms. He speaks about three: Taj, Tilak, and Takht. So Taj is the throne. Tilak is tilak, the bindi which we apply. In English, we can say tilak. There's no exact word. And Taj is the crown. So he speaks about the three thrones as well. So one is this immortal throne, Akal Takht. Then we have, that is also called the throne of self-sovereignty. No, that is the Takht, sorry. The throne is Swarajya Adhikari, and third is of the world sovereignty. So these three thrones Baba speaks about. So who made you the self-sovereigns who are seated on an immortal throne? It's the Father who has made each Brahmin child a king seated on a throne. So I think we have to read these Murli over 3 days. So I'll stop over here. We'll divide it in 3 parts. So this is what Baba spoke. I'll revise that what Baba spoke about 3 different kingdoms. So he covered the first half cycle as one, then the Copper Age, and the basis for the first half is the Confluence Age, which is self-sovereignty. And then he went on to mention that how your make sure that your physical organs don't deceive you. Same way your mind, intellect, sanskar shouldn't be able to deceive you. And what is the proof, or what is the, what do you call, how will I know that I have become a self-sovereign over my physical organs and my subtle organs, mind, intellect, sanskars? That means I'll become a carefree emperor. And what is the exact definition of carefree emperor? Baba spoke in that paragraph, the third one. And he also spoke about how we have to be seated on the immortal throne, on the Akal Takht always. So I'll stop sharing the screen, and then today you have ample of time to share your thoughts and discuss. Thank you. We'll spend a moment in silence. You can start sharing. Thanks.
Om Shanti. So Baba is talking about this becoming a self-sovereign. So Baba says it's based on this that we become the rulers of the kingdom. So this confluence says you have to become a self-sovereign, and accordingly we will go to the new world and rule there. And becoming self-sovereign is having complete control over not only the sense organs but also the subtle powers such as mind, intellect, and sanskars. So yes, of course, Sunday's Murli was also on this because that was something that Baba desired and expecting from us children to become. Um, and uh, and that Sunday Baba was saying become constantly self-sovereign. Added that word constant. I think that is where the problem comes. So when I check myself, I am not constantly a self-sovereign, but I feel sometimes yes, especially when everything is good, going well, then I'm able to control over the self, especially yes, the sense organs controlling is easy. I think the problem that I find is controlling the mind is sometimes becoming a problem. Though I like to put a full stop, and sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, it takes time to work until and unless I put something maybe a Murli or a class or a meditation sometimes help to stabilize in that thought. And it is based on this self sovereignty, how far or how much we rule over the self. It's based on that we claim our rights, right, and the future kingdom. And Baba said in today's Murli, the relationships and the connection that we get in the future, right? It's based on the sanskars that we carry, right? And so that also is based on the self-sovereign, right? Sovereignty, because the sanskars is good means that is going to take me to an elevated relationships and connection. If the sanskar is not good means I have not really worked on becoming a self-sovereign there. So how do I really become a constant self-sovereign? Is it going to be a journey to get there, and going through a lot of trial and error? Manoj Bhai, Shanti.
Well, always easier said than done. Yes, Baba likes these two words in Hindi, sada and sarva. So, sada means constant, always, and sarva means in every aspect. So, when Baba says sarva means it's about sarva shaktiman. He doesn't say one shaktiman or two shaktimans. He says sarva. So, all the powers, for example, have to be used. And as I spoke already in the Murli before that, whichever power I need at that point of time, if I'm able to know that, and the first important power comes here is the power to discern. So if I can discern and decide which power to use when, then sarva can automatic come. Whereas constantly becomes a little bit challenge. We know we are on a journey. All of us will someday reach there. But here, again in Sunday Murli, in the Hindi Murli, which I usually read always, on the second page there were two lines which were bolded, which were highlighted in the Murli original font itself. So first was, what is Baba's Vishesh Saugat, which is the special gift today Baba has given. Does anyone remember? Maybe Bijit Bhai? Because it came out as a surprise and it came out as an outstanding thing in the Murli. What is this? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it's sovereignty, isn't it?
No, that was what Baba is expecting from each children. That's Baba's desire. So second point, which was again highlighted on the second page in Sunday's Murli, was about what, as you rightly mentioned before, that what is Baba's desire from us is to become a self-sovereign. So in lieu of that, yeah, Usha Ben has mentioned it. She hit the nail hard. Thank you so much. So, and Om also has said that. Good. So Baba said that the Vishesh special gift which I have for all of you. So we would be thinking of very different other forms of gifts like inheritance, varsa, this, that, etc. But Baba said, and here always I am with you all. That's the important gift. And I think it directly correlates to that because when you ask the question, how will I remain always self-sovereign? Because I'm not always in the consciousness of being the soul. And second, that's because I'm not being in the consciousness of Supreme Soul, which means Baba, Baba, Baba is always with me. So it reminds me here that all these dadis, always in every thought, word, and action, they always had Baba Baba. So if we can use this special gift, I think, which Baba has given us on Sunday, then I think it will become much more easier to become self-sovereign. And Baba went on in the Sunday Murli to go further and tell that I'll say it in Hindi first. Not exactly mentioned that way, but I'll say that in Hindi कि बात को भी अकल होती है, बात आती है जाती है. So even things which happen, which means different circumstances, things, whatever in this Mayavi world happen, they just come and go, which means it will happen for a minute. We will get irritated for a minute and it will then go off. It will come and disturb you, it will shake you and then go off. But then what happens? that situation also is a little bit intelligent because it has come and gone. Whereas what do I, the soul, do? I keep reminiscing. I keep it in my intellect, in my subconscious, and keep reusing it again and again. And then the big accumulation of junk, of the waste, it becomes a big accumulation, and then it's difficult to get rid of that. So if I can develop this practice, which the Dadis did, that every thought, every word and action is full of Baba, Baba. So for example, again, anything happen, any task which is given to me, for example, in the alokik way, I mean, any service. So we always, Baba says, you always think of, you don't think of, what is that word? Dehadhari is the one who has a body. So do bhuja wale, the one who has two arms, you think of those, which means the souls, the routine souls. We think, oh, I have to take help from so and so. But you don't think of uh, what is that? Hazar Bhujadari, which means not only Shiv Baba, but also Brahma Baba. So approach them. They are your companions, Bab Dada. But here it was Baba. It was more of Shiv Baba. You invoke Baba for any task, and you see automatically help will come to you. And that invoking has to be with courage. The first step of courage, and then only I'll get uh, what a cooperation or help or support in uh, abundance. So himmate bache madate bab. So I have to take the first step of courage, have full determination and full faith in Baba for any task, laukik, alaukik, and remember this special blessing, Sogat, or sorry, not blessing, special gift that Baba is always with me. And then I think we'll be better off, not maybe full and complete and perfect, but better off than how we are. So we have to keep remembering Baba is our companion always, and his company always. That's what I feel. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, like you said, we kind of distant Baba, right? So that's why we forget him. It's like, I think what is happening to me is, yes, there are times that I forget Baba and then try to do things by my own. And then once everything is done, this happens often. When everything is done, I feel, okay, I'll do this meditation. But before that, sometimes I feel, okay, I should talk to Baba while I'm doing something or working. I should interact with him and ask him few questions how to do this and all that, so that I can engage myself, having a company with Baba while doing the task, so that I can experience a meditation also. But uh, sometimes, as I'm on the journey, right, doing that, I keep forgetting, and then somewhere everything loses.
Oh, yes, yes. All of us are on the same journeys. Don't be so disheartened and don't feel it's only you. All of us keep forgetting, yeah. That special I'm saying blessing again and again, sorry. It's a blessing also, but it's a special gift according to Baba that remember me, I'm your companion. So we just need to keep working on that. Again, all of us are on this journey. So we can see best how in our lives, because all of us have a different lifestyle, which means each one's karmic accounts is different, each one's lokik responsibility is different. So in the midst of all that, how we can incorporate Baba maximum to whatever extent we can. Okay. Yes. So thank you. And anyone else can share something? Okay. So if not, then we can spend a few moments in silence and then exit. Thank you. I don't know what is
Um,
the. Yeah.
just
Go ahead.
one
Yeah.
more question.
Mhm.
So you brought out the intellect, right? So that which is actually wandering out. So so he's the big brother. Like he shows see, this works like sometimes when we read something and there's going to be thoughts over that subject that we read, right? Uh, so I think this works like this sometimes when we are engaged doing some logic work, right? There also intellect has to be used, and uh, and sometimes even the work got done, even after getting the work done, right? Still the mind is with that situation, right? Withdrawing the mind completely from that situation takes time unless you sometimes, this works for me, taking a Murli and reading it and then making the intellect stabilize in that direction. But that doesn't work always because some cases we'll not be in a position to read Murli. Okay, so mm, I don't know, this sort of challenge comes through you also.
Yeah, so the question, I'm not clear about the question. The question is like the intellect, how is the intellect
Yes,
superior
yes,
to the mind? Yeah, so here I can give an example as a technical example, not technical, as an example of a small brother and just to explain, because many people feel no, mind and intellect are same. In one way, they are not the same. Mind is the one which is creating thoughts. We know that is the function of the mind, and intellect is the one which is making decisions. So everyone, always it's the decision maker who is more superior. And let me explain you here in the form of a mother having two kids, a younger one say around 1 year old and an elder one 5 year old, and the mother doesn't want the elder one to be disturbed by the younger one. So she keeps them in separate rooms, and then she goes to the kitchen and is busy with her daily chores. Then the elder one is studying, and he's finished studying now, and he is in one way wanting to just play around with the younger one, because ABCD 1 2 3 4, he's finished all that revision. It's his exam tomorrow. So now he just make sure that he doesn't go to the room of that younger one, otherwise he will be caught, because the elder one is smarter. So he goes to the um, towards the door of the room, the door of the room where the younger one is, and he just signals that younger one to come here. And that younger one is very innocent, flexible, and he still is so naive about things. And he feels, oh, my elder brother is calling me to play with him. So he happily goes there and goes and sits in that room of the elder brother, and they are having a good time, merry time, laughing around and all that. And the mother suddenly hears that I had left them with no sound and in separate rooms. She comes and sees the younger one in the elder one's room. So she comes and hits the younger one and tells her, why did you come here? So, never having realized, the mother didn't realize that it was the elder brother who had signaled, because the younger one was busy with his own small room with all his toys and etc. So here it comes that it was the signal of the elder brother. So same thing applies here. It's the signal of the intellect which is given to the mind. So as you rightly mentioned, these words you call engagement. So our mind is our intellect is engaged in a task, and you need engagement from the intellect to do any task which we are doing. So at that point of time, the mind is free to go here and there. So, but if my intellect is engaged in something, the mind will also come there. So now, here comes the role that we feel that our mind is wandering. No, but our mind is not wandering. It is the intellect who is wandering. So what happens if I'm doing something and suddenly I start visualize the one of the functions of the intellect also is to visualize. So now if I'm sitting in yoga, for example, and if I'm creating this thought, beautiful thought from my mind that I am a peaceful being, but inside the intellect, I mean, inside my conscious, subconscious, if I get a picture of vada pav or a burger or whatever, XYZ, then it shows I'm not being concentrated. And when we say concentration, it's been defined in our Rajyoga course, whereby your mind and intellect go together. So when I create this thought that my mind is, I'm a peaceful being, then I should immediately get a picture of what? something which is silent, whatever, each to his own. You can create, you can visualize something like Param Dham or around the nature, whatever appeals to you as silence. So if that is happening, which shows then my intellect is engaged in a proper way and it is thinking of, or rather it is visualizing that proper image, and then my mind also will remain on that. So basically, it's the intellect which is pulling us. Intellect is the one which is the decision making faculty. Intellect is the one which creates images or visualizes. So it's important to work on our visualization power. I think that's what the answer is. So, yes, so as you rightly said, we are busy in the entire day, but Baba gives us many tips and tricks that despite being busy in the entire day with your busy intellects, find out this time whereby you can maybe switch off from that what you're doing. So we have traffic control, just a minute, exercises. Baba says, Panch Swarup ka abhyas, do the 5 form study 12 times in a day. So many different techniques Baba says. And then honestly, when I'm guilty, I don't do the, I mean, we remember for one day or maybe 2, 3 hours, remember, oh yes, Baba has said, do the study of 5 forms 12 times a day, but we never do that. Honestly, we never do that. If someone does it, big congrats to that soul. But we have to really, all these small tips and tricks which Baba gives in the Murlis, we have to really follow that properly. And once we follow that, then we see how we become a self-sovereign soul quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj bhai.
Okay, so people want to be silent. We'll respect that. And it's already 5:43. So let's be in silence and then close. Thank you. Om Shanti. Okay. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Manoj Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 am. Until then, have a lovely day.